Firstly, injury-wise, a few players coming back. Alex Rufer back from suspension as well, but no Chico. Can you explain what the situation is?
Yeah, unfortunately, Chico picked up a knock a couple of weeks ago in his knee, and we're just monitoring through, just trying to get him through the games. And unfortunately, last game took a bit of a hit. I think it's affected his meniscus. So unfortunately, I think he'll be out for the rest of the season now. There's a lot of inflammation in the knee, so the advice is, the medical advice, is that he needs probably about 3 months off feet now.
How much of a setback is that for the team, given his performance last week and how well he settled in?
Yeah, it's very disappointing because for a large part, I think he's given us a different dimension. But that's not to say that we can't get the job done without Chico, but it does put a dent in our preparation, and we're starting to build a bit of continuity. It's starting to look very dangerous moving forward. But I think the confidence is in the group, is building, and I still think that we still have enough momentum to start picking up results.
He's expressed that he wants to stay. He knows it's difficult given the situation with his loan and his parent club and everything.
Yep.
Do you want to keep him?
Yeah, I'd love to have him. I think he'd be a great addition, not only to our team, but to the ALeague in general. You can see what kind of skill he has. He's a great dribbler over the ball, very composed on the ball. He's not scared of taking players on, and he can score. And I think, that for a large part, that's the disappointing part, is that, obviously the heavy reliance on Costa was taking that pressure off with him in the team. So, I'd love to have him next year. I think it'd be great. If we could make it happen, we'll make it happen. But fortunately, it's not straightforward. So, there's a lot of water under that bridge. So, but again, the intention is, if I can make it happen, I will make it happen.
The players that are coming back, especially those from injury, Scott Wotton, Isaac Hughes, Paolo Retre, are they going to have their minutes limited or anything?
We'll see. I just want to see how they pull up from training today. I think it's important that, as much as I want them back into the team, I don't want to rush them and run a risk of them missing out in the last couple of games of the year. Paolo is tracking along nicely. Scotty and Hughesy are going, I think ahead of schedule, which is good, especially Hughesy. Hughesy's had a really good rehab stint. So, I'll be looking for those guys to have heavy involvement. But again, we'll see how they pull up from training today.
And does that change the way you want to play, from what you did last week with Chico being gone and playing?
Yeah, so Chico out now, and some central defenders back might give us a bit of a different dynamic. But again, the intention will still be, obviously, to build on what we've done over the last couple of weeks or over the last month. Again, it's just, the shape might change, but the intention will be the same.
Newcastle, obviously the big news from them is that Rob Stanton won't be continuing. I know you know him very well. What's your thoughts on the Jets moving on from Rob?
I think it's madness, to be fair, because he took a very limited resource club from last year and built it this year, and you can see the way they play in a really good, positive manner. He's developed a lot of those young boys, and to be fair, they probably need another year or 2 years with him to build a full project. I think he was just starting to get his right mix of visas, and I thought Coda was a really good signing, a couple of months ago, give him an extra dimension. But players like Rosie, Callum Timmins, Bayless, they've all been very good. Even Groslos at centre back has been fantastic. So, but look, Rob's good enough. He'll get another job somewhere else. It might be a good time for him to take a bit of a break. He's been doing it for a long time, but he's a good coach, good guy. So, wish him the best of luck.
How different a prospect are the Jets from when you played them in late December? You touched on a bit there.
Yeah, I thought they were dangerous last time we played them, but we were also going through a bit of a form slump at that time. It's a bit of a sort of a cagey match. We low blocked them with the intention of trying to break them down with more counter-attacking transitional moments, which I think worked for a large part. But they were very dangerous. They picked us apart more than other teams did, especially through the middle. Something that we're going to try and alleviate. Eli Adams is a very dangerous player, and again, Rosie with his forward runs, poses a big threat to us. So. I think they're the same sort of team. They just have a bit of confidence now, and they've stuck to their playing style. They've stuck with those young players, and they had one or two good games where they built that belief, and now it's just momentum getting them through, and they'll be a tough team to play.
I think they need the 3 points for that to stay in the hunt. Trying to play party pooper, is that a motivation or anything?
Nah, look, every game's the same. Whether it's we're going for the six, we're not playing for the six. Those all our boys are motivated to play. They'll be motivated. It'll be a good game, I think. We're not there to ruin anyone's party, but at the same time, that we want them to earn any points they take off us, and I think we're good enough to get the 3 points. So it'll be a good game.
And you've had obviously Tim Payne and Costa Barbarossa and Alex Rufer back for a week or so now since the international break. Have you noticed a spring in their step or anything from the Always?
All the boys have been, buzzing off the fact that they're potentially going to a World Cup. Great motivation for them next year and for the remainder of this season to build a case. Every game's now going to be assessed. Instead of now having an available 30 to 40 players, you watch there'll be 60, 70 players come out of the woodwork all wanting to fight for the last 23 or 26 places. So I would expect Rufa, Costa and Payne to be fully motivated, fully focused for the next season and a half to try to get on that plane. They've been training well. Payne especially has been, I think, training very well. Last week he did very, very well at centre back and as captain as well. So very happy.
Cool. With the announcement about Rob Stanton, do you expect that to affect the mindset of the Newcastle players at all?
No, definitely not. I think there was a rumour of it a couple of weeks ago. So if it's affected the group, it would have affected them a couple of weeks ago. So it's business as normal.
There's also been a lot of chaos in their last few games, plenty of goals at each end.
Chaos. Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Do you want to embrace that chaos, or is it just sticking to your own game plan?
Well, we'd love to create a lot of chaos, to be fair. It's something that we've struggled all year with. They're a very forward-thinking team. So if you give them space, they'll attack it, and they're very good at that. They're very similar to West United. I think West United maybe has a little bit more firepower in that regard, but very dangerous team to play. So again, our job is to neutralise that chaos and create a bit of our own chaos. Yeah, that's it.
Corbin Piper scored another goal from a set piece last weekend. How valuable is it having that weapon from corners, from free kicks, especially after last year maybe set pieces weren't as effective as you would have liked?
That's a good question, Roshi. I would say, last year, we had the most amount of clear chances of set pieces in any team. We just didn't capitalise. This year, I would say, we have Hede, who delivers an unbelievable set piece. I think he's on 8 assists off set pieces or something like that, something crazy. And when you have players that have the intention of head the ball and put their body on the line, makes for an easy formula to score goals. So I think Corb's been really good. He's coming along nicely. He's versatile, and if he can make a niche of scoring off set pieces, it makes it easier for me to pick him every week.
Alan Stanchip said last week that he thought he might be the best aerial player in the league. Do you agree
potentially. It'd be up there. It would be, definitely in the top 5.